I was wondering that, you know how you say you attract everything to you by your energy and your like energies and things? Yeah. And, you know, I find that I attract myself to some people and I'm like, whoa, what am I doing to attract that?
Well, you see, the thing is, everyone, including you, everyone is a mixed bag. And so you have so many positive aspects, and so do they. And you have some negative aspects, and so do they. And so it just depends on what's active in you really recently, like now. Mm-hmm. First, we want to say that every thought that has ever been thought still exists, but all of them are not active in your vibration right now. So your point of attraction, the convergence of you meeting up with your inner being, is happening now. And it's about what's active in you now. Now, it's fair to say that what's active in you now is probably a lot like what was active in you a minute ago or an hour ago. Most people get up, get a vibration started, and then it just gains momentum through the day. And it's logical because most people, we love you so much, but you often get up in the morning and you start thinking about the things that were troubling you yesterday. So you continue the momentum. You don't need to, you don't have to. In fact, when you first wake up, that's your best opportunity to not do that. Whatever it is that's active in you, that's what you are rendezvousing with. And so if you get focused on something and get it really active in your vibration, it will show up not just in one person, but in a lot of people around you. Mm-hmm. And so it's fair to say that personality-wise, you are rendezvousing with people based upon what is usually active within you. And that means you can do something about it. You can't control others, and don't try because it will drive you crazy. But you can control your vibration. So if there's someone unlovable and your attention to them is causing you concern or worry or discomfort or discord, do anything and everything you can to get them out of your mind, or bridge the way you feel about them. It's usually easier to get them out of your mind unless you live with them.
This is usually strangers. I work in a very public place, so someday I try to think of it as a playground when I go to work.
We're just going to ask you about that because that's a really good mindset for you, because if you're feeling playful about the people that you will be interacting with, then you probably have mostly positive interactions. But if the public annoys you, then the most annoying among them will make their way right to you.
And that's what happens. It's true. Yeah. It's true. Yes. I did learn a good lesson the other day. I had a situation that was very annoying, like kind of like, well, where'd that come from? And the other person that was helping that person came to me very upset. I said, oh, you know what, just ignore them. There's people like that everywhere. Just, just don't even think about it. Just go do your work and forget it. So I felt like I taught myself something there through him.
It's easier to do when it's happening to somebody else.
Yeah, it is. It is.
In other words, it's really easy, but that's because you're not personally, and by personally we mean vibrationally in this moment, invested in it.
Right.
But something that is very helpful, especially when it is as light as what you are offering here. You are more or less detached from these individuals, and so there's not a lot of momentum relative to any one of them, while collectively you might have a pretty good run going. That's what we meant by saying the public is annoying. But one of the things that is really helpful to say in that light situation, or in any situation, but in a lighter situation, you usually make, in this moment, good, powerful, vibrational bridging headway. Say to yourself, I wonder what my inner being is thinking about this exact person at this exact moment. Because that's the reason that you're feeling negative emotion. This is going to be a little hard to hear, but we're going to say it bluntly in a way that you can hear it. It's not that this person really is annoying. It's that your perspective of this person doesn't match the perspective that your inner being has. Your inner being always gives people the benefit of the doubt. Your inner being always looks for positive aspects. Your inner being remains in compassion, which means no dip in inner being vibration and still able to give attention to something. So the reason that we encourage you to turn your attention away, you, meaning most humans, is because most of you are not practiced enough to stay in that compassion where your vibration doesn't dip when you look. When you look, your vibration usually dips, which is what we mean by a conditional relationship with most things. Most conditions affect your vibration, and that's what you want to get good at not letting happen. You don't want the conditions to control your vibration, because then you have no control over your experience unless you sit in a very private place with very controlled environment, and then the condition becomes boring, and so you're no better off. And so your options really are find positive aspects, and if you can't, change the subject. And then the next morning, wake up with an even clearer intention, because in this day of annoyance, you put more engines on your train going that way that say, I want to have better days. I want to have smoother rides. I don't want so much bumpiness. I want to feel better in my day. I want more harmony around me. And so as you stack those trains going that way, you'll feel the clarity and the momentum of that until the next time something happens and those old records play. But little by little, you will become someone who is unaffected by what's going on around you.
That's my desire.
You know, we like that because for most people, the majority of their vibrational output is because of what they are observing, which means the current state of their manifestations is getting most of their attention, which means their manifestations can't evolve into more preferred. If you're just looking at what is, then you're offering a vibration about what is, and you're just going to get more of what is. Different faces, different places, but essentially the same thing. That's one of the things that we enjoy so much about a gathering like this. You sit and don't panic and listen and feel resonance with this and this and this and this, and your vibration shifts just in the course of a morning like this. And then because of that, your point of attraction is different. So every relationship that you have with both personal and strangers is affected by that change of vibrational set point that you accomplish, which can let you know, if you're paying attention, that you have the ability to do that anytime relative to anyone, which is what makes you then the deliberate creator of your experience rather than creating by default. Sometimes people say, just came out of the blue, just came out of the blue. This thing I didn't want. And we tease you, we say it didn't come out of the blue, it came out of the oblivious. It came out of your insensitivity to your own emotions. Your unwillingness to acknowledge that your emotions are guiding you about what you want, and you have the ability to guide your thoughts in the direction of what your emotions are letting you know that you prefer. Isn't it interesting? So something's really bothering you, or someone's really bothering you. And the first tendency is, you need to change because you're really bothering me. And then we don't help you out in that because we say, they don't need to change, and in most cases, they can't change. But you can focus differently, and you can attract change from them or different people around you. But you really got to give up depending on the change in others for you feeling good, because it's not going to happen. And even if it does, it just trains you into needing more people to be like that until you become a very demanding person. These people please me, be more like them. Mm-hmm. Something more?
Yeah, I have one more question. And you introduced it when you said you get your money's worth. I feel very worthy. I am a good person, and it's not that I don't feel self-worth. But I have a hard time accepting money from people for things that I feel were given to me that I didn't pay for. I know I'm the one being resistant. Okay, so
there's so much to talk about relative to this. One of the practical points of view around that is that Jerry and Esther, when they first began this work, they met us in 1985. And Esther made Jerry promise that he wouldn't tell anyone because she just thought it was weird. And he kept his promise for a short while. And then things sort of got out of hand. And so they sat with us, Jerry asking the questions, wanting to know what to do about that. Because, first of all, there's a lot involved in moving from place to place and getting things the way you want them. But also, they wanted to know what was an appropriate amount to ask for. And we said to them, it doesn't need to be this way, but in your economic world, it is this way. Most people expect value according to what they've paid. And so you want to set your price at a place that makes them expect value, but not so far that it produces hardship or prevents anyone from coming. So Jerry set out to create a series of things that cost nothing. And then he set out to create a series of things that cost very little. He always said, you can buy a book for $15 and everything that Abraham ever has to say is in this one book. You don't need all 10 books because Abraham says the same thing over and over again. The laws of the universe don't change. Clever ways of explaining it to you do. And as your experience evolves, then we do get broader and deeper, but really. And so it's not so much, if you are looking at it the way we were helping them to see it, it's not so much about what's happening to you. It's about what's happening to them. What is most likely to put most people in the place of receiving the most that they can receive. And so Jerry's always very fair-minded. He wanted to make sure that it was equal opportunity to anyone who wanted to come. He didn't ever want anybody to save any seats for anyone. He didn't want there ever to be any advantages over one. And we explained to him on many occasions that the law of attraction is always fair. In other words, as you look out into the world, you often see things that do not appear to be even. But law of attraction is always fair, meaning that whatever it is you're offering is always coming back to you. And so we don't think that this is a subject of worthiness so much as it is a subject of it's easy to respond to how others are feeling. Someone may want very much something that you have to offer and not right now have whatever it is that you are asking for them to give you in exchange for it. But if you then say to them, well, therefore, it will be a different price for you, or therefore there will be no price for you. There's another message that you're giving to them, which says, I do for you what I see you cannot do for yourself, which is a message of disempowerment that is not in alignment with what your inner being knows to be. So what we encourage you to do is to feel around until you find something that sits well with you, which means your inner being is resonating with it. And then don't listen too much to the others. Esther gets letters every day that say to her, you know, you charge less than anybody else doing this kind of work. And Esther says, I'm fine with this. And Esther gets letters from people that say, you know, you charge so much that I can't come. There are so many people that have so many opinions about each and everything that you will ever do, that if you get yourself all twirled up in trying to be the path of least resistance for them, then you'll get your eye off your ball and you will forget who you are, and then you'll have stress in your vibration and your point of attraction will be negatively impacted. And so
Oh, I get that.
we were
So totally.
teasing yesterday. We said, we think you should call Facebook Nosebook because you've become a world that sort of has your nose in what's going on with everyone. And it doesn't serve you unless you're really solid in your alignment, because it's really easy to let whatever it is that you're giving your attention to be the reason that you are offering the vibration that you're offering. And then your point of attraction is affected by default. Helpful?
Wonderful.